All right, well, I'm ready to give my bloomin' talk. You know, it's been said that if it weren't for the weather, most people wouldn't know how to begin a conversation. And I would just add myself to that. If it weren't for the weather, most of the time I wouldn't know how to begin a talk for Sunday. And so that said, I'm going to say that Charles Dickens wrote, it was one of those March days when the sun shines hot and the wind blows cold and it's summer in the light and it's winter in the shade. And even though he was writing about March somewhere in the United Kingdom, he could just as easily have been writing about March in Michigan. But the good news is that however March is unfolding weather-wise, we are on the spring side of winter. And that's something to celebrate. Now, it's possible that some of us kept our spirits up as the winds got colder and colder and the snow piled higher and higher throughout the winter months by reminding ourselves that nothing in this world lasts forever, including the weather. Now, some things change quickly and permanently and completely. And then there are things that don't change quite as quickly and seem to vacillate between change and repetition, and kind of like March in Michigan. So it's a good thing for us to learn to go with the flow of change, because once we accept that nothing in this world stays the same, that change is part of being alive, then we learn to appreciate whatever is here and now, because it's made all the more precious by its temporary nature. Thich Nhat Hanh said, impermanence does not necessarily lead to suffering. What makes us suffer is wanting things to be permanent when they are not. Thank God that our happiness isn't dependent on anything that is physically permanent. That happiness is unconditionally generated from within us. So if our heart has been aching just a little bit for warm sunshine in a consistent way, and for blooming flowers around us, we can let our hearts sing right now, whether there's a change in the weather or not. Because today's the day we get to officially say, it's spring. After today, the days get longer, as they naturally have since time began. Once there's the vernal equinox, and it's done it easily without any help from our clocks. Now, Robin Williams famously said, spring is nature's way of saying, let's party. If it gets a little colder before it gets warmer and warmer and warmer still this summer, if we get a little more snow or a lot more snow in March or even in April, until the weather fully lets go of winter, the party has started. And we can decide to enjoy spring right now because it's spring right now. If our footsteps have been feeling a little heavy this winter, we can let the idea of spring bloom so beautifully in our heart that it'll put a spring in our step all month long. On this first day of spring, even if the ground is still a little bit cold, a little bit hard, we can do a little mental planting by visualizing in our mind what we want to plant in our garden when the time is right. In this way, we're able to experience the happiness right now that comes with a beautiful garden because it will be present in our imagination. And we know every good thing begins in mind anyway, before it ever manifests in the world. So we're free not only to imagine what garden we want to plant in our yard, but we can imagine what we want to plant in the garden of our life. In Science of Mind, we read, imagination taps the very roots of being and utilizes the same power that brought the worlds forth from chaos. Imagine that. All the power that brought about the worlds that continues to create worlds after world can create something as delicate as a blossom. Our life in this world is like a beautiful garden that we plant with our mind, and it's intended to bloom blossom by blossom with that same power. But often we feel so impatient when we want something to manifest in our life, whether it's improved health or an improved relationship or a relationship at all, or finances, whatever it is. We get so impatient that we don't wait peacefully for the rhythm of creation that is working behind the scenes, beneath the soil. And we don't trust that divine timing will bring whatever we desire about. We rush through our present moments without paying attention, as if the present moment is less important than the one to come. But every moment is essential to our life because it prepares us in each moment for our experiences. Emmett Fox wrote, "The art of life is to live in the present moment." To live in the present moment is the art of life because it's where our creative power is alive and active. There's no other creative place but here and now. Right now, in this very moment, the power of creation is ours to use, and it's working on our behalf. We can't create anything new with past energy. It's already moved on with the flow of life. Yesterday won't change, no matter how much we think about it, but our present moment thoughts can create a beautiful future. Just as every season is important to Mother Nature and this world, Every moment is important to the creative flow in our life. Now, we don't try to rush Mother Nature when it comes to our garden because we trust that she knows what she's doing. And she'll bring it all about blossom by blossom. Gertrude Jekyll, who is a wonderful writer and horticulturist, who's designed hundreds of beautiful gardens around the world, wrote this: "A garden is a grand teacher. It teaches patience and careful watchfulness. It teaches industry and thrift. And above all, it teaches entire trust." After we've planted seeds in our garden, we don't expect everything to pop up overnight, even if we've used Miracle-Gro. That would spoil the fun because we all know that there's something wonderful about seeing things slowly grow, seeing them sprout up from seemingly nowhere at all. Now that's true Miracle-Gro. It's been said that an optimistic gardener is one who believes that whatever goes down must come up. When we plant a seed, we don't worry about how Mother Nature is going to turn that seed into a sprout and a plant and then a blossom. We don't worry about what's going on beneath the soil. We don't feel like a failure, even though we can't see the physical evidence of our planting. We trust nature's creativity and timing. We know that if we provide the perfect environment for growth, that we can trust that beneath the surface, beneath the soil, there is something wonderful going on. Now, I'm sure you've read this on Facebook, but I wanted to give Osho, the spiritual teacher Osho, credit for this. He was the first to say, "Your mind is a garden, your thoughts are the seeds. You can grow flowers, or you can grow weeds. We reap what we sow" is a universal law that affects all of us in every area of our life. That's why it's important for us to notice the thought seeds that we offer the universe so that we can choose thought seeds that we want to see sprout up in our life. I mean, when we have a garden, we don't just walk out with a bunch of seeds and throw it out there and say, whatever. But sometimes we do that with our thoughts. We don't take time to notice what we're planting. But when we do, when we know that what we've planted with our thoughts will bring about something good, we don't need to concern ourselves with how the universe is going to bring that about for us. We just provide the perfect mental environment for that growth. And then we can peacefully and patiently wait for the universal law of attraction to produce what we've planted. It's been said, you take care of the sowing, God will take care of the growing. We take care of the sowing by thinking about and talking about those things we want to bring about in the garden of our life. Then we can't help but to walk with a spring in our step, even when we can't see the physical evidence of what we've planted, of what we want, of what we desire yet. We can just relax and appreciate our life as it is right now, knowing there's an unseen power that creates worlds after worlds, that is taking care of our every desire and is at work on our behalf. And then we can happily anticipate seeing good things sprout up in our life that seem to sprout up from seemingly nowhere at all. Abraham Hicks tells us you can be fully satisfied with where you are, understanding that you're eternally evolving. When you get into that place of feeling appreciation of where you are and of who you are, and you accept that you are a never-ending, always unfolding being, then you can stand in that delicate balance of being optimistic about what is to come without being unhappy about where you stand. No matter where we are in our ever evolving life, we can feel gratitude where anywhere at all. And we can appreciate having a life in which to create, and that appreciation will create the perfect environment for our good to manifest. Appreciation for our life just as it is enriches every moment and prepares us to experience joy, blossom after blossom. Appreciation for the miracle of the unseen creative power of spiritual energy that loves us, that is creating our life, lifts us up to a place in our consciousness and opens us to our good. And we're more able to allow ourselves to receive what it is we want and what it is we've asked for. Just as we enjoy each blossom when it opens in our garden, and we get excited and we celebrate those buds even before they blossom, we can be fully satisfied with the garden of our life, understanding that we're eternally planting and growing and evolving and creating. The philosopher and poet Soren Kierkegaard wrote, "Patience is necessary. One cannot reap immediately where one has sown." Patience allows us to stand in that delicate balance of being satisfied with our life in each moment and optimistic about what's to come. Trust in the universal process of our unfolding, trusting that there is a divine plan as we unfold, causes us to feel even the most subtle growth within us. It causes us to look for and celebrate every sprout of good that appears in our garden of life. Nothing is too small to celebrate. We are a never-ending, ever evolving being. Always unfolding. That's created to bloom and to grow forever. We're created to live in the bliss of positivity and unlimited possibility. There's no hurry or worry when we know that we are created to express infinity, blossom by blossom. Namaste. All right. That's a good one. I enjoyed that one. Okay. Well, this is the time of our service when we get to say thank you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being there. Thank you for your presence. Thank you for being here and supporting us with yourself, with your beingness. And thank you, too, for your financial support, because it keeps us going, and we want to keep going and unfolding and giving this message of love so that more and more of our brothers and sisters know how powerful they are and how loved they are. And it allows the spiritual community to stay together. So it's a wonderful thing you do as you financially support us. So here to tell you how, if you don't know how to contribute appropriately, is our treasurer, Dr. Jamie Phillips.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Where'd Grateful Jim go? Grateful Jim always has a quote. He says, "You can't outgive God." But I'd like to amend that and say, we don't mind if you try. So here's some ways that you can give to LEC. You can donate via our Facebook page, which is facebook.com/Life Enrichment Center. Our website, lecflint.com. Hit the contribute button. Via PayPal, our email on PayPal is lec2512@gmail.com. Or you can just cut us an old-fashioned check, and we'll take that right to the bank, and that's a perfect way to give. And our address is 2512 South Dye Road, Flint, Michigan, 48432.
485. Sorry, I memorized it, so try it again.
Take two. Our address is 2512 South Dye Road, Flint, Michigan, 48532. And thank you. Oh. It's my first time back after a couple-week hiatus, so I would like to introduce our gratitude song by Nemo Patel and Daniel Namad. It's called Grateful, and I'd like to ask Janice. Thank you, Janice. Just come on up here even before I announce you. That's good. Okay. For people in the sanctuary. Thank you.